this is Algir Sambas from BIS IT1 Section A. Today I'll show you my project called Running Average Calculator. You just enter numbers, type stop when you're done, and it will show the total and the average. Simple but really helpful. As you can see here, I'm importing OS and time. These two statements will become useful later. Kaya ang OS para limpyo ang screen ug ang time para sa delay. As you can see there, nagamit ko function pero I'm just experimenting functions. Wala siya ako ang impact sa code but it helps me organize the program and this how function works in Python. Now I use OS.system nga code para limpyo ang screen so ang output klaro o organize. I declared 3 variables dani. First is ang total which stores the sum sa tanan inputs. Ang kadua kay count which keeps track pila ka valid numbers ang gisulod. O lastly history which saves ang list sa tanan numbers nga gitype sa user. I use while true because I need the program to keep running and asking inputs hangtod ang user mismo ang stop. Now, dani nga part, akong gi-display ang inputs history aron makita sa user tanan valid numbers na iyang gisulod. This helps track kung unsa na ang na-enter sa user before adding a new one. Now, this user input code uses input para ang user makatype og number. If gusto niya mo nung pwede ra siyang type og S or stop. I use OS again para limpyo ang output. If condition. If the input is S or stop, kung mao ni ang i-type sa user, the program will break the loop and proceed to calculate the average. Nagbutang ko that lower after sa user input para sa big letter ang ibutang sa input nga S or stop. Mudawat ka pun siya.
What the dog doing?
As you can see here, after sa if statement, nag-print ko calculating the total average with 3 dot and time slip with 3 seconds para more like smooth siya and realistic tanawon. The break one is to break the loop and proceed sa under gawa sa loop. I use try statement to safely convert the input into a integer. Kung ang user mosulod og letters or symbols, normally mo crash ang program. Pero with try nga statement, masalo na to ang error and instead ipakita ra niya og message nga invalid ang input. I-convert na ko ang user input into an integer inside the variable called number. Now, if number is equal to 0, mag-display dayon siya 0 values skip. With the time slip for 1.5 seconds and OS system to clear the display. And continue the loop. This line adds the input number to the variable total. This line again increases the count by 1. And the story append to store each valid input in a list so the user can see all the numbers they entered. The except value error handles cases when the user enters something that is not a number, like letters or symbols. Instead of crashing, the program shows an error message and continue running. The condition if count is greater than 0 checks if the user entered at least one valid number. If true, the program will calculate the total and the average. If not, it will display a message that no valid numbers were entered. The final average variable. The code calculates the average by dividing the total sum of all valid numbers by count of those numbers and stores the result in final average. The program prints a line separator, then shows the list of valid inputs, the total sum of those inputs, and the final average. This gives the user a clear summary of their entries and the computed result. The else part runs when the user did not enter any valid numbers. Instead of calculating, the program prints a message telling the user that no valid numbers were entered and suggests running the program again. The function running average calculator code. This is to start the program. Without this line or code, the function would be defined but never executed. And this is all the code in this activity called running average calculator. Let's try to run the code.
What the dog doing?
And that's the end of this activity. Again, I'm Aljero Zambas from BIS IT1 Section A. Bisan simple lang ni nga running average calculator, it really shows how we can use Python with loops, conditions, or error handling. This kind of activity help us practice and understand coding better step by step para mas prepared ta sa mas dako nga project in the future. Dagang salamat sa inyong pagtanaw. Kita-kits sa sunod na activity and let's continue learning together as a IT professionals.